Hey all, welcome back to one more session today. So in today's class we are going to discuss about where we have ended in the previous session, that is disabling of randomization. So before going into today's session, we have already discussed about the previous sessions on randomization and what is the need of randomization and all. We have already covered all the topics with example codes. If you are someone new seeing this particular video, so I link the previous videos in the description box. You can go there and check it out. And also, if you are someone new who is seeing this video, I'm a design and verification trainer who trains students on design and verification courses like Verilog, System Verilog, and UVM, and some protocols also. So I have already made some videos on Verilog, System Verilog, and APB protocol also. I link the APB protocol tutorial if you are someone who are interested in checking, reading about the specifications. Then you can go to that protocol and check it out. Also, please consider subscribing the channel and hit on the notification bell also. And if you like this video and if you like my explanation, please just give me a like so that it is kind of motivation for me to upload more such content. Now coming to today's video, which is disabling of randomization. Okay, among the various advanced features in randomization that is present in system Verilog, the disabling technique is one of them. Like, because in the previous session itself we have talked in Verilog, when you see the dollar random and dollar u random keywords, there is no such case in order to disable this random and dollar u random. Okay, so when you are um, creating a dollar random for a particular variable, then that variable will be producing the random variables until the end of your code. Okay, there is no such case like disabling this dollar random keyword. But in system Verilog, this is the advanced feature. Like, when you are using a variable, for example, you are using like rand address. Okay, so this is my variable. Okay, I am since I am mentioning the rand keyword, so this address is being randomized. Okay, at particular point of time when I am writing my test bench code, there may occur some case where I don't want any randomized bits of for this address. Okay, that means my address need not be randomized at that particular point of time. Then what can you do? Instead of going to the starting of the place where you have declared the code, and you have, instead of erasing this and everything, so instead of doing all this, so at that point of time where you don't want that particular address to be randomized, then you can disable this rand keyword. Okay, how can you do that? Yes, you can do that. You can do that by using the keyword rand mode. Okay, so basically, by default this ran mode will be in 1 whenever you are declaring the ran keyword before the address. That means the mode of this particular randomization is 1. That means ran mode is 1 by default. Okay, so whenever you are declaring the rand mode is 1 by default. And whenever you want to disable that randomization, you should declare it as rand mode of 0. So that means when you are making the mode of this rand as 0, then you are disabling that randomization. Okay, we'll be explaining this clearly with an example to you so that it will be easily understood for you. Okay, so this is about disabling randomization. So basically rand mode is a function, okay, which returns 1 if randomization is enabled. How, what is randomization enabling means? When you are creating the rand bit, okay, and you are calling like object dot randomization randomize method, that means randomization is on. So when randomization is enabled, then the rand mode value is 1. Okay, by default whenever the rand mode is enabled, that's what I told you, the rand mode value is 1. When you want to disable the randomization, then you have to make this mode as 0. Okay, so when you are making the rand mode of as 0, that means you are disabling the randomization. Okay, randomization again, when you want to enable this, that means at particular packet, for example, you are taking some classes, okay, so or some modules, and at particular class or at that particular module you want to make this particular address as de-randomized value. That means you don't want to produce any randomized values for this address. Then at that particular point of time you will be disabling this randomization by using the keyword as rand mode 0. And again at some point of time again you want to have random values for this particular address. Then again what you can do, again you can go for enabling this particular. How you will be enabling it? Again making this value from 0 to 1. Okay, when you want to, again the previously disabled case randomize can be enabled. Again when you want to disable, you can disable by giving it as rand mode 0, and again when you want to enable you can give it as rand mode as 1. Okay, and here you have to remember one logic. Okay, if you are not doing, if you are not disabling as this, okay, if you are not disabling the randomize by using rand mode 0, then you don't need to give it as rand mode 1, because by default whenever you are calling the randomize method it is by default 1. Okay, but when after some period of time when you disabled this particular as 0, then again you have to make it as rand mode 1 in order to enable your particular randomization. Clear? Yes, so this is about the randomization disabling. Right, now let us see some example for this so that it will be easily understood for you. Okay, so let me give you a small example here. Right, so if you see the example here clearly, so this is my class. Okay, so within this class I am taking two variables which are address and data. Right, so both of these are rand bits. Okay, I have declared them as rand bits. That means these both are, that means the randomization is enabled on these both variables like address and data. Right, end class. And then within the module I am taking a handle for this packet. Okay, and then I'm creating the object, this everything you know. And then okay, just don't go through these three things, we will explain it later. So just simply I'm doing a randomization. So I want to randomize it 5 times, so I have given repeat 5 within begin and end. Here packet dot randomize. Okay, so I want to randomize this particular packet. That means whatever variables that are there in this packet, they will be randomized. Okay, so after randomizing, I want to see the values. Okay, here if you see, I am taking two different displays. In one display, I want to see the random values of this address and data. Okay, address data. Now, within the second display, what I am doing, if you see, address dot rand mode, I also want to see the rand modes. Okay, so because as I told you, rand mode, whenever you are giving it as randomized bit, then by default the rand mode is 1. So I just want to check what is the default value of this address and data also. Okay, and then I have entered this particular code. Now if I run this particular code, let us see what will be the output. Okay, if you see the output here, see, since I have given for repeat 5 times, so 5 address, 5 values of address, 5 different random values for address and 5 different random values for data. Fine. And if you see here, address dot rand mode is 1 and data dot rand mode. So for every different value, everything will be here, everything will be 1 only, because the rand mode is by default 1, because you have started the randomization. You are doing randomization here, so the rand mode is 1. Now for this same code, if you see here, I am activating this rand mode. Now if you see here, this is my particular logic here. If you see my statement, packet dot address, so this is how you should give the rand mode. So the class name, okay, the class, sorry, the class handle dot the particular address or data, whatever it is, the particular variable name. Okay, packet handle name and variable name dot rand mode. Okay, so rand mode is 0. So if you are not going to do this, how it will be happening, we will also see that. So if you see here, I am just making the address of this particular packet as 0. So I am just disabling this randomize, okay, keyword. Now if you see the output for this particular thing, how the output is going to be. Okay, so everything is same. I just have disabled the address dot randomization. Now if you see here, since I have disabled the address dot randomization, so all the address values will be 0. Okay, and the address dot rand mode is also 0. Why? Because since I have made that mode as 0, so I have disabled the address range. So here everything is 0, but the data is having the rand mode 1 because I have only disabled the address. Okay, I have only disabled the one variable within my packet. For example, if I am not giving it like this, if I am doing it like packet, so I am disabling the entire packet. So now what happens, whatever variables that are present within the entire packet, everything will be disabled. Okay, because your class can contain one variable or more than one variables, and if you want to disable only one variable, then according to that you should mention your name. If you want to disable all variables within your class packet, then you can just mention the packet name itself. Okay, got my point? For example, if I am doing it as data, okay, now what I'm doing, I have just made address as 1 and then data as 0. Now what happens, this reverse, just your address will be having these random values, but data will be having these 0 values. Okay, so this is how you will be disabling. Now for example, okay, you have made this data as rand mode as 0, and then after some period of time, now you want to make it as 1. Okay, then you can also do that. For example, okay, if I am doing the same thing here, now here and then if you see here, see what I have done here. Here, first for 5 times I have disabled this rand mode to 0. Now after some period of time I want to enable the rand mode to 1. So for the first 5 repetitions it will be 0. Okay, and for the next 5 repetitions it will be having its individual values. This is how you will be disabling and enabling that particular uh, rand bit. Okay, so this is about the disabling of rand bit within the randomization. This is how you will be disabling as well as enabling the rand bits. Okay, hope you got an idea on how to disable the randomization, how to disable the bit, and how to enable that rand bit. Okay, so this is about it. And in the next class we are going to discuss about something which is very important within randomization, which is constraints topic. Okay, because even though we are talking about randomization, the most important thing in randomization is constraints. Okay, constraints is very important in system verilog, because you will have, without constraints you can't write a code. Why is it? Because randomization means producing the random values, is it or not? So while we are producing the random values also, if we have we should have some limitations. Why? Because if you are taking, for example, if you are taking, in the previous class we have discussed, like when you are verifying a 32-bit ALU. Okay, so 2 power 32 means how many combinations you will get. Okay, there may be some case where you don't need to check some values. Okay, where you don't need to check some possibilities, you just need to take some possibilities into consideration, and you can just ignore the remaining possibilities. Then in such case, okay, you need some limitation. Why is it? Because if you don't keep that limitation, the simulator will be running and it will be a lot waste of time as well as waste of memory. So in order to avoid all these things, what we have done, we are putting some limitations to my randomization. So putting some limitations to my randomization is called as constraints in this system verilog. Okay, so you are having lots of constraints within system Verilog. So if you see here, so in this way you will be writing lots of in different ways you will be mentioning your constraints. You can write if else in your constraint, or you can write conditional statements within your constraint. You can write operators within your constraint. In this way you are having lots of different kinds of constraints. That is why I have told you that constraints is very important topic, because when you are entering into any interviews or else anything, this is the important topic that you will be asked for your interviews. Like he will be asking you to write a code by in order to randomize your particular in order to write a code on randomizing particular value, but putting these limitations into consideration. So in this way, how do you do it? When you know how to write a constraint, when you know how to write particular constraint, because you will be asked to write you constraint without using if else, okay, or without using conditional, you will be asked conditional operator, you will be asked to write a constraint, or without using the inside block, you will be asked to write a constraint. So in this way you will be asked to write a constraint with some limitations. So this is how you will be getting interview questions in your interviews. So try not to miss out the constraints video. Okay, I'll upload it in the next session. Okay, so stay tuned for that. And that is all for today. Thank